Hello, I'm Lexi. Um, I was on socials the other day and saw a post. This woman decided that she was just going to share her positive birth story in order to encourage other expected mommies and daddies. And it dawned on me that that's an amazing idea. I remember um, being pregnant and looking online, just trying to find other people who I could relate to, looking for positive experiences um, to help me to just feel safe and secure and confident and encouraged. Going into my birthing experience. So I am a mother of 5. I am 2 months postpartum. So I just had a birthing experience, and um, I'm going to make a series of videos just kind of detailing each experience because they were all different. I had two of my two oldest children in a birthing center inside of a hospital with a doula. I had 3 home births, one with a midwife, one semi-unassisted. I had a doula on Zoom from out of state. And then my most recent experience was 100% unassisted, just me and my man and our spirit guides in our bedroom doing our thing. And each of my birthing experiences have been positive. I have never had a negative experience, of course, with the earlier ones. In the birthing center, there were some things that were kind of annoying looking back at it. However, everything went smoothly. I don't feel traumatized by my experiences, and all of them were completely natural. So yeah. So starting with my oldest baby. He's actually getting ready to be 9 on Saturday, so I'm so excited to celebrate him. But I delivered him in a birthing center that was inside of a hospital, and that being my first experience, the fact that the birthing center was in a hospital is something that gave me a sense of security. Because I thought that, just in case something goes wrong and there's a emergency, I'm still in the hospital, so they can just, push me right on down to the operating room and do what they need to do to save me or my baby. And so I felt that was a good option to kind of still be able to do things naturally, because I've always wanted to have my babies natural. Just kind of even going back to that, I remember being in undergrad and taking a women's studies class, and we watched The Business of Being Born. I'm not sure if you all have heard of it. It is a documentary by Ricki Lake. If you're millennial, you probably remember watching Ricki Lake. But yes, she had a documentary called The Business of Being Born, and the documentary was just very eye-opening for me. It just kind of, gave more history and information on how our healthcare center here in the U.S. Is very much profit-based, and exactly what getting an epidural does to your body, how it disconnects you from just the experience of labor, and how important it is for you to be able to feel labor, because that's a connection between you and your baby. and you will innately feel what you need to do. You will know what position you need to be in. You will naturally feel when you need to push. You can feel if it's safe or not. You don't necessarily need anybody else to tell you that. And getting an epidural numbs you, from the waist down. And so you are completely disconnected from that experience. You can't feel what's going on. You are not connected to your baby. And now you are completely reliant on doctors and nurses who they don't know what's going on with your body because they can't feel it. And they do the best that they can to try to instruct you. And anyway, the epidural usually leads to Pitocin, which puts your baby in distress, which usually causes you having to get a C-section. I did not want a C-section. According to that documentary, hospitals, providers prefer C-sections because they cost more, and it's just quick. They can just get you in, get you out. They don't care about what your birthing experience is and allowing you to just take your sweet time, because you're all moving on baby's time anyway. The baby's going to come when the baby knows that it's time to come. So yes, seeing that in undergrad, I was just so inspired by those women on there, and I'm just like, I want to do that. I can do that. I've only, just going back to my mom's, hearing my mom's account of my birth, it just sounds so traumatic. It was very traumatic. And I did not want that for myself. And I didn't know that it was possible to have a beautiful experience naturally prior to seeing that documentary. So shout out to Ricki Lake in The Business of Being Born. Recommend you to see it. If you are also just wanting to become aware of other ways to deliver your baby, the natural way to deliver your baby. We've been doing this since the beginning of time, okay? So I always knew that I wanted to have my babies natural. So my first child, being in the birthing center, in the hospital, there were only midwives, operating in the birthing center, so that helped me feel like I had that nice medium. And the experience with him, I did hire a doula. I loved her. I also took birthing classes, and the one thing that has stood out from a birthing class that I took, that I still use, throughout all of my experiences, I remember the instructor saying that contractions only last 60 seconds, and you can do anything for 60 seconds. That has stuck with me. That motivates me for other things in life. But yes, you can do anything for 60 seconds. And so, going into labor, started off at home. And this is the part that I didn't really like. My ex mother-in-law was there and invited her friend, and there was just too much going on in regards to trying to pressure me to go to the hospital because they were nervous. Kept asking me, how did I feel? Was I having a contraction? Trying to do my laundry and do things, and I'm just like, guys, can everybody just leave me alone? Just leave me alone. I think that that's something that you can kind of count on when it comes to what your labor experience will be like, is that you want to be very much left alone. Imagine being on your period. Usually you don't want people touching you, fussing over you, talking to you. It's the same thing times 100. It's like, everybody just be quiet and let me do what I'm doing, because I don't even know what I'm doing. So I didn't enjoy that. I gave into the pressure. My doula just supported me, and we went to the hospital. Of course, if you arrive there, well, you know, the birthing center, if you arrive there and you're not in active labor, they'll send you back home, or you know, just let you stay there. They let me stay there, but they did not follow my wishes of who I wanted in the delivery room with me. I only wanted my mom, who was flying in from out of state, and my then spouse to be with me in the room. Ex-mother-in-law was in there. The friend was in there. There was talking going on in the room, just like it was like a gathering, you know? Like, I just felt like there was no respect for what I was going through. And so that's the only negative that I had there, was just that, like, the hospital staff, the birthing center staff, even my doula, you know, my ex-spouse, which is one of the reasons why they're my ex, did not obey my wishes. They did not respect my wishes. And that was just very difficult to already be in that space, that yes, they, you know, try to make it as comfortable as they can for you in the room, but there's nothing like your home. There's nothing like your home. Your home is your home. Your body feels safest and more comfortable at home. The more safe and comfortable you feel, the better labor experience you're going to have. I know that now. I didn't know that then. And so, yes, got there too early. And I pretty much was in labor for 36 hours. At one point, you know, there was just no movement. And they did have to give me a sleep aid to put me to sleep so that I can rest in between my contractions, so that I could have some energy to actually, like, push my baby out. But yes, other than that, they allowed me to, I used the shower, you know, just for comfort during my contractions. Water, the shower, 10 out of 10, amazing for contractions and for labor, relaxation, soothing, all of that stuff. So I definitely recommend, I recommend the shower. I recommend water births, actually. I wanted to have a water birth with my first baby, but in the birthing center, they usually only have a couple, and if someone's already using it when you get there, you don't get to use it. So I guess that's another downside, is that, like, you can want a water birth, but it's not, you might not get it if somebody else is there. But anywho, yes, when it was time to, there did come a point where it seemed that I was not dilating the way that, you know, they felt I should. And when they checked me, they actually could see that my baby's head was kind of like turned sideways and stuck in my frame. I used to be like this big. I was just like a little teeny tiny twig. And so at that point, I had to have one foot up on a stool and do deep squats with my contractions to help him rotate his head so that he can come out, because that was the only thing that was stopping him from descending down and crowning. That was very painful. That was the worst, actually. It was very painful. That was the worst. But in my mind, I'm just like, you can do anything for 60 seconds. You can do anything for 60 seconds, even if it's doing a deep squat through contractions. And so, yeah, ended up, you know, on the bed. It was time. I felt like, you know, it's time to push. You just kind of know. I don't know what that really feels like. It actually really feels like you have to poop, like, majorly. And 2 pushes and my baby was out there. I did get to keep his placenta. Even that, it was just like, told them what I wanted. I'm keeping my placenta, but it's just like they kept trying to get it out. They kept trying to take it. So, we had to keep our eyes on them and tell them more than once, like, we're keeping it, stop trying to take it. But yes, my baby was born healthy. I believed I just had like a minor tearing, which I was expecting since I, had to do the deep squats. But stayed there for a day, went home, and it was great. My doula provided me a birth story that she kind of wrote up for me, so I thought that was really nice. But overall, that was a positive birthing experience for me, in regards to just being able to one, to be safe. I never felt like I was in danger, even though I was experiencing just like the labor pains for the first time. Yes, it was painful, but I don't know. I think I may have a high tolerance for pain, but I knew that it was purposeful pain. The pain was purposeful. This, in my mind, I am bringing forth a life into this world that's major. Of course, there's going to be pain. And yeah, at the end, I had a beautiful baby boy. So that's my labor story, my birthing experience, with my first child in a birthing center in a hospital. So yeah, hopefully, I provided enough details. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below and I will answer as much as possible, as long as you're not too much in my business. But yes, stay tuned. I'll be back to just give a recount of my second experience. Yeah.